I'm Scott Oldford, and I wanted to share with you today the difference and the changes that have to happen in order from going to being an entrepreneur to a business owner or an entrepreneur to being an investor. Because the changes are massive. The differences in how you had to think, how you had to act, how you had to make decisions are radically different. So let's get started. Let's get into it. So first you're an entrepreneur, and then ideally you become a business owner, and then ideally you become an investor. The more you kind of climb that ladder, the less decisions you make on a daily basis and the less dopamine your business kind of produces. I'm an owner in about 30 businesses now. It's slow. It's just slow. I make a decision and I don't see anything back for 3 months, or, even get the contract. Most of the time to do these deals, they're a month to 6 months just to get the deal done. When you're an entrepreneur, it's fun, right? It's, the art of the hustle. It's like, let's get it done. Let's get money in the bank, strike sales. Let's do this. Let's do that. Yeah. Let's launch. There's a beauty in the chaos that is created, that we created for ourselves. There's like a fun to that. And there's two sides to that, which is one, that it's a lot of fun. It's high in brain chemicals. It's a cool feedback loop. The more money you make, the cooler you are. The more cool you are, the more money you make. And then on the opposite side, it's like this responsibility. You end up saying yes to a lot of things that you don't necessarily want to say yes to, because you're either pumped up on ridiculous amounts of nootropics and supplements and caffeine, or your ego's so sky high that you say yes to absolutely everything. You kind of get away from the alignment of what makes sense for your life and what actually is really good. As a prime example of this, like this year, I will make the least amount of money in my mentoring business that I had since 2016. Revenue, not profit, but revenue. I do 8 hours of live time like this a week. That's it. There's no more, because I have a 3-month-old, and that's important to me. I've increased my prices 3x. I've cut down the number of people I actually mentor, because by the end of next year, I'll own 100 companies, and I don't have the time to be able to have somebody pay me, even though they pay me a lot of money, because the opportunity is me owning the company, and over the next 5 to 10 years, that doing very, very well from a wealth creation perspective. It's scary to have something working really well. It took a lot of self-trust over the last 3 years to go from someone paying me $250,000 for my mentorship to saying, no, I'm going to take a percentage of what you do and no money up front. And I'm going to decrease my income because I believe in the wealth creation that I'm going to create over the next 5 to 15 years through doing this. My dopamine centers, thankfully, my son's smile is what's getting it to me these days. And too many people get addicted to the chaos, particularly being the hero. When I was younger, I'd go to the bar, and whoever the person was that I could hero the most is who I met. And I brought that into my entrepreneurship world. And some people are the victim, and those people don't make any money, but the heroes, they make a lot of money, but it's very chaotic. Your business is very dependent upon, as you grow. And it's very important to go from being an entrepreneur to being a business owner at some point, because if not, you don't have a business that can be sold. You don't have a business that's going to sustain time. You're not going to have a business that can be separate from who you are. And you're going to change and evolve and grow. And so is your business, but they're not always necessarily on the same trajectory. So what's going to happen is if you don't separate them, every 2.5 years, you're going to blow up your business. You call it whatever number. Mine's 2.5 years. And then you're going to go through some personal spiritual journey, find the new thing that you want to do, and then you're going to come back, and then you're going to redo the whole thing over again, and you're going to do it again. And at some point, you look yourself in the mirror, and it's like, how many times am I going to blow up a business before everyone around me is not like, yeah, sure, you do the next thing. I think it's important to realize that the amount of value that you can bring at the beginning as an entrepreneur is very high, but the amount of impact that you can have as a business owner, where your business can live beyond you, where your business can operate without you. People are like, oh, I want my business to operate without me. Generally, that's because they want to go and go on a vacation or do whatever. They don't actually think about the reason why you want your business to go on without you is because you're going to make way more money that way in the long run, because your ability to impact people is way easier if you're not the person getting in the way of it. You are going to be the person that gets in the way of your business. Because we live in these astrological cycles. We don't know which month we got some massive spiritual issue that we're going to work on, or we fall in love. I remember first when I met my wife, business. Who cares about business? I'm in love. These things in our life or the health issues or whatever it might be. That business by itself, if you're a business owner, you can run a business 3 hours a week. But most people aren't willing to make the transition. And people aren't willing to make the transition because they're over leveraged, meaning they scaled up too quickly. They're over leveraging their life, meaning they scaled up their life too quickly. Don't see the purpose of being able to do it. They're addicted to the chaos and the drama. They live off of it. They're a workaholic. I find so many entrepreneurs, they do not have a single hobby. There's nothing that they'd like to do besides work. They have a success wound or generally it comes from our parents. My mother did a great job of making me a workaholic because, she's still a workaholic to this day. She loves waking up 3:30 in the morning. She's in her 50s, waking up 3:30 in the morning. No real reason. She can retire any day. Don't know why. And she taught me how to do it. And then I had to spend a bunch of time getting away from that. It's very, very important that our best value at first becomes being an entrepreneur. Then it goes to being a business owner. And that transition, either people don't do or they try to do it too quickly. That takes years. It takes years to do that. Because if you go business owner too quickly, what most people do is they take themselves out of the business. So like on a Friday morning, they wake up and they're like, today I'm going to be a business owner. And by Monday, they've outsourced and delegated absolutely everything, which creates no profit in their business. Their customers are like, where the heck did this person go? The value proposition of what they brought disappeared. So then their business goes on. And about 6 months later, they start looking at the actual bank account because entrepreneurs are terrible with money and terrible being able to manage kind of things. They're like, oh my God, it's failing. Guess what they do? They go off their little vacation sabbatical, come back to the business and new program, I'm back again. And then the whole cycle restarts and they try to do it again in about 2 years.